Welcome to Testing Talks Latest. In today's video, I am going to explain OOPS concepts usage in Selenium and especially polymorphism. Polymorphism is known as many forms and it is divided into compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism is overloading and runtime polymorphism is overriding. Since overloading can be compiled with errors during the compile time, that's why it is compile time polymorphism, and overriding issues will be found when execute the test, so that's why it is runtime polymorphism. Let me create a class with name class 1 and try to explain how compile time polymorphism overloading can be done in Selenium. So in overloading, we can define same method name with different parameters. So we can use same method by modifying the parameter. We can run that method with relevant parameters. So let me create a class 1 and see how compile time polymorphism overloading can be done for a select class. Select class will be used to select the options for the select box, which has different select options in HTML. So I'm going to create a class 1 for running different options such as select by value, select by index, select by visible text, to see that how we can handle 3 different kind of options within the single method. Let me use a test annotation and create a method for our demo for the overloading. I am giving the method name as select options. Let me import a test and define WebDriver with name as driver and assign to null. Let me import WebDriver, and as part of the method I am going to initialize this to new Chrome driver. I am going to use practice expandtesting.com/dropdown to give the demo for different options. We are using 2 different options, symbol drop down and country selection option, to see how we can handle different options with single method, different parameters with single method. So let me import Chrome driver for this, and we'll use this URL for opening using driver.get. And I am providing the URL for execution. Once this page has been launched, we can create a method select value and I am going to create the method as part of the same class. We can use utilities for this. We can use utilities also, like custom methods. Under utilities I have a class so that we can have custom methods and using public void select value. In the first method, I'm going to pass the web element along with value I'm going to use for the select option. So as we see, these are all the visible text with option 1 and option 2. These will have the values as part of the HTML. When we see first drop down has different values such as value 1, value 2. Select by value will be select based on the value for the option. So in the first method, I'm going to use value. Value is a string and parameter I'm specifying as value. So now we have to define select class with the name select and new select, and we need to pass the web element for this new select. And for this select class, I'm using select by value. That value is the value from the method. So by defining custom method class, I can use this select value, and I'm going to create one more method with different parameters, such as I'll use int value index in this case, and modify the select method as select by index. So in this case, I can pass the index. So like this, same method is method with same name is created, but values parameters are different. Here I passed string, here I passed index with integer type, so that it is accepted. This is called overloading. So if I want to use this, I can initialize custom methods class, or I can extend custom methods class in the class 1, and I can use that. So that let we use custom methods class for initialization. New custom methods. Let we import custom methods class, and let we call our select by select value. Select value, it is asking for the first thing is integer index, and second thing is string value. I have taken string value in the first case. For this, we need to define web element. So let we add web element with name elem, and using driver dot find element by id for this select option. We can add in the script. So id for this first drop down is drop down. So I am going to add this as part of the web element, and let me import web element, and I am going to pass element. As we see, options values for this is 1 and 2. So we are selected select by value with the values. I am specifying 1, and let we try locator for this country selection, and I'm going to use index for this second drop down. Let me check the ID for this. ID is country. So we can copy this code and modify it. Web element country with ID country, and in this case I'm going to use index. Zero index you can specify. It has to select Afghanistan. So I'm going to pass integer value. So like this we can also pass element country in the place of element. So like this we can able to specify different parameters for the same method name and use that with overloading. There is one more type with polymorphism, is that overriding. Overriding can be done by using superclass and child class concept. As we see, we have superclass, base class here. So we can extend this base class, and as part of this base class I am going to create one method with void return type, and this will say about the execution we are doing. So in the base class, in the superclass, the execution will say superclass is executed. So I'm going to say base class got executed. If I run from superclass base class, it will be say base class got executed. Same method I can override in the subclass by extending this base class for the class 1. So I am going to extend base class. Now I am going to write one class with name execution, one method with name execution, and here this will print message as class 1 is executed. When I execute execution method from the subclass, it will print message such as class 1 is executed. Let me execute this method from our select options method, which is running through our test annotation, and see the results. So I am going to run execution method from this. So after selecting the value, it will run the execution method. So this will print the subclass overridden class 1 got executed. So we can write auto override also here. So it is not mandatory to specify. In the base class we have already had before suit. In the current method I am not using before suit, so that let me remove it. And in the class 1, as we see, this country drop down is hidden behind, so that let me use scroll method. So we have already created a method scroll to element. We can use this method. This is part of custom method, so that I am using custom method dot scroll to element, and we need to pass driver and element. So that it will be useful to scroll until to the element country. Let me run our test and see the results. I have added class 1 as part of it. Let me execute our test in the suite. Run as test ng. There is an error exist. Subclass. It is not needed because it is also implemented base class. That's why this error is coming. So let me comment this code for time being. Since index will be start from 1, I'm going to modify this as 1. Let me run our test and see the result. Run as test in the suite. Our test started running. Browser got opened. Selected option 1 and first option Afghanistan had selected. So let we see our test is passed. This is how we can see overloading is executed, and also as you see class 1 is overridden with the method execution, and it has printed class 1 got executed. So this is how we can use overload and override concepts in Selenium. Subscribe my channel for the latest interview questions and tutorials. Thanks for your support.